The smell hit me first sharp, like someone had lit a bonfire with wet wood. It was early spring, the kind of evening where our quiet, manicured neighborhood felt like a postcard. Neat lawns, trimmed hedges, not a leaf out of place. Fires didn't happen here, but that acrid scent clawed at my throat, and my heart started pounding. I bolted to the patio, scanning the yard, and then I saw it, a thick plume of gray smoke curling up behind our shed, right where we kept our therapy dog shelter. My stomach dropped. "Lila!" I yelled for my wife, my voice cracking. She was already sprinting from the driveway, phone in hand, her face tight with focus. Lila's a K-9 officer, 10 years on the force, the kind of person who doesn't flinch in crisis. But this was our home, our dog's safe space, and I caught a flicker of fear in her eyes that chilled me. We ran toward the flames, the heat already stinging my face. The wooden shelter we'd built for our Labrador, Buddy, was engulfed, orange tongues licking at the roof. Buddy wasn't just a pet. He'd been my lifeline since a car accident 5 years ago left me with nightmares and crippling anxiety. I lost my best friend in that crash, and the guilt haunted me. Buddy's steady presence, his warm weight against my side, had pulled me through the worst of it. We made him a cozy outdoor haven shade, toys, a sturdy bed for days when he wanted to lounge outside. Now it was burning. Lila shouted for me to stay back, but I couldn't. I was fixated on the fire, my hands shaking as I dialed 911. Sirens wailed in the distance, but I knew the shelter was doomed. Lila grabbed the garden hose, blasting water at the flames, but it was like spitting on a bonfire. The crackle of burning would drown out everything else. Then I glanced at the fence separating our yard from the neighbors. There stood Mrs. Harper. Everyone called her the enforcer behind her back. She was the HOA's self-appointed queen, always armed with a complaint about mailbox heights or unapproved flower beds. Tall, with stiff gray hair and a glare that could freeze you solid, she'd hated Buddy's shelter from day one, calling it an eyesore that violat her precious neighborhood aesthetic. She stood there, arms crossed, lips curled in a smug scowl, just watching. Not helping, not calling for help, just watching. My blood boiled. Could she have done this? Firefighters swarmed our yard, dousing the flames, but the shelter was gone, reduced to blackened rubble. Thank God Buddy was safe inside with us. Lila pressed her hand to my chest, her voice low and trembling. "Stay calm, Nate." The firefighters asked the usual questions. Had we been burning anything? Any flammable liquids nearby? Electrical issues? No, and no. Lila's eyes kept darting to Harper's fence, and when the lead firefighter mentioned possible arson, my gut twisted. Harper had once threatened to call animal control because Buddy allegedly stepped on her petunias, never mind that he never left our yard. Was she capable of this? That night, Harper's voice slithered over the fence. "Maybe now you'll see those structures don't belong here." Lila froze, her jaw tight, and I grabbed her arm before she could storm over. We called the police, filed a report. Lila flashed her badge, but being off duty in another jurisdiction complicated things. The officer was polite but skeptical, saying they needed hard evidence to call it arson. Lila pointed out suspicious burn marks, but he shrugged. "Forensics will tell us more." Sleep didn't come that night. I kept seeing Harper's smirk, the flames dancing in my mind. The next morning, Lila was a woman possessed. She bagged charred wood scraps, noting an oily shimmer in the dirt that screamed accelerant. She recorded everything, called a forensics buddy for a favor, and worked with a quiet fury that made me both proud and worried. Then the HOA, led by Harper, slid a letter under our door. It didn't name us, but it screamed blame, calling the fireproof of unsafe structures and announcing a vote on stricter rules. It was a gut punch, twisting the knife by painting us as reckless. Lila was livid, pacing as she read it aloud. "This is a smear campaign, Nate." Buddy trailed us, his soft eyes confused by our tension. I knelt, stroking his fur, determined to keep him calm even as my own anger simmered. Days later, Lila's forensics contact confirmed traces of fuel-based accelerant. A neighbor mentioned seeing a shadowy figure near our yard that night, but their eyesight was too poor to identify them. We pushed the police, but they needed more footage, an official report. Lila didn't wait. She installed security cameras, hidden ones along the fence, and upgraded our motion sensors. Harper, meanwhile, strutted around, telling everyone how lucky we were the fire hadn't spread, always adding that unapproved structures were a hazard. Some neighbors whispered they thought she was out of line, but fear of her rumored ties to local officials kept them quiet. The street felt like a powder keg, every smile laced with unease. 2 weeks later, my phone buzzed at 2 a.m. Motion sensors tripped near the shelter's ruins. Heart pounding, I opened the camera feed and saw a figure climbing our fence. I shook Lila awake. We crept outside, hiding behind bushes, my palms slick with sweat. Lila's hand hovered near her off-duty sidearm. The figure knelt by the scorched ground, a flashlight beam darting around. Then it hit their face, Harper's sharp cheekbones, her pinched mouth. She was rummaging, maybe looking for evidence to destroy. Lila stepped forward, voice like steel, "Stay where you are." Harper dropped the flashlight, cursing under her breath. She tried to bolt, scrambling for the fence, but Lila grabbed her arm, pulling her back. Harper shrieked, claiming Lila was assaulting her, insisting she was investigating contraband. I recorded everything, my hands shaking. Lila pinned her arm, flashing her badge. "I have enough authority to hold you until police arrive." Patrol cars rolled up, lights flashing. Harper spun a wild story about Lila attacking her, but the camera footage shut her down. Her face, clear as day, digging through her yard. The officers arrested her for trespassing and obstruction, her protests echoing as they cuffed her. The next week was a blur. Forensics found accelerant on Harper's shoes and burnt wood in her flashlight. Charges piled up: arson, trespassing, property destruction, reckless endangerment. The neighborhood buzzed, some shocked, others unsurprised by Harper's escalation. At trial, Lila testified with calm precision, detailing the damage and our evidence. I spoke about Buddy, how his shelter was my sanctuary, and how Harper's cruelty shook me to my core. The judge's face hardened. Harper was guilty: jail time, restitution, mandatory therapy. Her lawyers tried, pleading stress, but the evidence was ironclad. The HOA scrambled, ousting Harper and issuing us an apology. They rewrote rules to protect therapy animals, and neighbors rallied, offering to rebuild Buddy's shelter. We built it stronger, fire-resistant, with a camera for peace of mind. Buddy bounded in, tail wagging, and for the first time in weeks, I breathed easy. Lila's department teased her about busting a suburban arsonist, but her focus stayed on Buddy's safety. The community held a fundraiser for canine units and therapy dogs, with Buddy stealing the show, charming kids and parents alike. It was a turning point. People saw him as a hero, not a nuisance. Life settled, but the scars lingered. A whiff of smoke still spikes my pulse, and Harper's smirk haunts me. Buddy keeps me grounded, Lila keeps us safe, and our neighborhood feels warmer, more open. Harper's appeal failed. She's serving her sentence, reportedly unraveling in counseling. I don't wish her well, but I hope she learned something. Our new shelter stands as a symbol of resilience, proof that love and persistence can outlast hate. What do you think? Did Harper deserve her punishment? Or was the sentence too harsh? Could we have stopped her sooner? Or was her malice inevitable? Should HOAs have less power over personal property? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button, and subscribe for more stories that'll keep you on edge.